So a lot of times when people see my videos of me training pregnant women, obviously the first question they ask is it even needed? Is it required for a woman to train during her pregnancy? So like anyone during any phase of their life, there's really no excuse to not move. And pregnancy is not any kind of a limitation. So pregnancy is in fact more of a reason for you to start moving, so you don't land yourself in the kind of postural changes that you end up with. Um, and you also have a very pain-free and safe delivery as well. So talking about that, I was just discussing with Mercy about the benefits of exercising during pregnancy. Mercy's tried and stayed fit throughout. She had a little bit of morning sickness in the start, but she tried and kept up with her training throughout her pregnancy. Now, why you train during pregnancy? It's not only beneficial for the mom, but it's also beneficial for the fetus, which is your growing child. So for the mom, a lot of things, you're physiologically, anatomically, it's really beneficial for you. You're not going to end up in a lot of stiffness or joint pains or any kind of discomfort. And your blood circulation really is in a better position. So your cardiovascular health is really good. You don't land yourself in any kind of respiratory conditions or gastrointestinal conditions, no constipation, and there are a lot of health benefits to it as well. And just being able to move even through your pregnancy alleviates a lot of anxiety and depression, and that's something that moms go through during that phase and also immediately after. So one of the biggest benefits is that exercise actually reduces first stage of your labor. So it actually allows you to have a shorter labor and also allows you to have a more pain-free labor. So a lot of women who've exercised throughout their pregnancy, they ended up with having a natural delivery, and that's again a huge thing in India, especially when the rate of cesarean sections is going up. It's good to stay active through your pregnancy so you can actually have hopefully have a natural delivery as well. For the fetus, again, exercise during pregnancy has shown to shown to lead to less number of premature deliveries. So there are a lot more healthier babies that are popping if the mom is active through the pregnancy. So it's good. It's good for the fetus. It's good for the mom as well. Apart from that, Mercy had a few questions, and we thought it would be helpful for a lot of women out there who are pretty much confused about training and pregnancy and if they can't do, what are the do's and don'ts and things like that. So we thought we'd just have a fun chat, and I thought I'd try and answer as much as I can whatever questions Mercy has. So
yeah, so I wrote down my questions so that I don't forget. And the first question that I have is, why do they say that I'm not supposed to lie down on my back during the workout or even in general during
Yeah,
pregnancy?
yeah. So you're not supposed to sleep on your back, and you're not supposed to work out on your back. So what happens during your pregnancy? The uterus ends up being so big, right? It's growing throughout, and that growing size of the uterus sort of pushes against very major veins and arteries in your which are present posteriorly in your body. So when you lie down, the pressure of that uterus is and your growing baby obviously is going to fall on these arteries and veins, and it can limit the blood circulation coming back to your heart. So a lot of times walking is good because it pumps the blood from the lower body up to the heart. So when this happens, it's kind of stopping that. So it's kind of a risky position that you're going to put yourself and your baby in if you're lying on your back for too long. So we want to avoid all lying down exercises post the first trimester.
Okay.
It's called supine hypertension, the condition.
I'll be avoiding lying on my back. So can I do ab exercises then?
No. So, see, now we have to understand that there's so many ways you can look at ab exercises. Now, I would suggest that pregnant women don't do any conventional ab exercises like your crunches and planks and sit-ups and things like that. That puts a lot of load and pressure in your abdomen. And one other thing women tend to, foresee is there's something called diastasis recti, which is separation of your abdomen that happens through pregnancy, and it happens in every single woman. Okay, now a lot of times it is abnormal if you don't look after your posture, if you end up, overtraining and not understanding how you engage your core. It tends to become much worse than a normal person. So what happens is almost 70% women during their third trimester end diastasis, but within a month and a half, it actually goes back to normal. So if this is your six pack muscle, there's a thin connective tissue in the middle that tends to split. So your abs just literally open up like that. So very intricate pelvic floor and inner core training brings that back together. So you have to be very careful with how you start your training again right after your delivery. But majority of women have it during pregnancy, and the one way you can see it is when you're doing certain moves and you see a little bulge pop. It's called coning. So when you see that, you know that you're not engaging your core correctly, and you need to avoid doing that movement. You're putting too much pressure on your abdomen. So that's one way you know that you already have diastasis.
Okay. And my next question is, if I cannot do ab exercises and then do the regular ones, what are the other exercises that I am not supposed to do?
Yeah, so coming back to the previous thing with can you do ab exercises? You can do a lot of inner core and pelvic floor exercises, but like I said, not the conventional ab exercises. With other movements you can't do, so what happens is in pregnancy, there's a hormone called relaxin which shoots up, so it makes all your ligaments go really lax. So that puts a lot of, it makes your joints way more tender and delicate than they already are. So that's why we want to avoid sudden twisty, jumpy, jerky movements, sudden change in rotation or direction. Otherwise, if you're in a controlled position and if you know exactly what you're doing, that's good. That doesn't mean you don't do plyometric stuff and cardio movements or anything. You just don't want to suddenly change directions, those explosive sort of movements. Those are the things you want to avoid because you honestly don't know how much of pressure you're putting on your joints, and you can't really assess and tell how lax or not your ligaments are. So you just want to be a bit careful with those kind of movements.
Okay. And what is the breathing pattern that I'm supposed to follow during exercise?
So with one main thing is you never hold your breath, right? So it's so important that you ask me that. You need to continue to breathe, whether it's stretching, exercising. You want to really continue to breathe. So what I tell my clients is to follow a principle called EEE, which I mentioned in my core guide. So it's basically engaging your core and exhaling while you're exerting. So let's say you drop into a squat, it's easy to go down, but when you come up, you're exerting and you're coming back up. So that's where you exhale and engage your core. So simple way to remember is whenever the movement seems hard, you want to breathe out. Whenever it feels easy, you want to breathe in. So that way you're allowing, and the reason you want to do that is whenever you exhale, you sort of tighten up your core a little bit. So you exhale when you exert. So that's a simple way to remember. Instead of memorizing, whenever it's EEE, and whenever it's hard for you, you want to exhale and keep your core tight. That's about it.
Nice. So that's it. I think I'm done with all the important questions. But I just wanted to ask if you can give us few tips so that we'll be intentional about avoiding diastasis recti or.
So the main thing with like I said, it's very hard for women to prevent diastasis from happening, but it's easy for them to prevent it from becoming dysfunctional and really bad. So we don't want any gap of 2 centimeters is okay after delivery, but we want to actually really start with pelvic floor and inner core training to avoid that. You can do it through your pregnancy, and immediately after your delivery, you can start your breathing techniques and your core activation exercises, and then slowly use that to get back into training. But more than anything, for women during pregnancy, I think you want to try and keep the intensity of the workouts, medium to moderate and not too high. And of course, if you have a training background, it's a different scenario. But you want to try and keep the intensity moderate. And one other thing I tell my clients is when you're working out, if you're not able to talk, that's too much. So it's called the talk test. So if you're exercising, you're jumping, you're moving, and you're not able to talk in the middle, that's too much. So you want to tone that down and keep it to a little bit of moderate intensity. And keep your workouts about 3 to 5 days a week, and try and keep consistent with the workouts. The only way you avoid any mishap from happening or your abs from splitting more than needed is you just being aware of what you're doing with your body. So just try to be aware when you're picking things up, when you're handling anything at home. Just try and see if you're coning. Try to pull your pelvic floor and your lower abs in, and then that would probably help you with recovery right after and avoid that damage a little bit more.
This also applies after the delivery.
Yes,
right?
definitely. So one important thing with exercise in pregnancy is that you are able to bounce back so much faster than other women. Your recovery is so much better. Your healing process is so much quicker. So all these are like the good benefits of training. But your core is something you can immediately jump back to right after your delivery. So you have to keep these things in mind, especially after too, because you'll be handling your baby and you don't know which positions you're gonna be in. So it would be good to pay attention to these things even after.
Yeah.
So I just want to say thank you to Mercy for being such a sweetheart and doing this collab with me, and Danny who's behind the camera. But this was a fun series of videos, and I think if you guys have any more requests, you can ping either of us, and we'll probably do more.
Yes.
You.
And I had a lot of fun learning a lot of stuff, and then I wish I knew all this even before I got pregnant. And I hope all the pregnant ladies or all the friends who are planning for their pregnancy to, oh, I just lost the flow.
It's okay.
Yeah, to maybe be cautious and then get trained under a professional trainer and just not do things assuming or thinking that it's right, because it's only gonna make things worse and it'll
Yeah.
help you recover from your pregnancy.
Much faster.
Yeah, much faster. Yeah.
So yeah, train with an expert.
Yes.
All right.